Mike Nelms will be back taking Dinello's kickoff. The Redskins did win the toss. The wind is circulating. It's coming at a very brisk rate high above the stadium and then circling around and coming across the field from the opposite way. So Dinello will be kicking with the wind, even though the flags would probably contradict that. A hot streak kicker right now. There's the flag. And I mean, they're barely hanging on to the pole. We're all ready for a tough game. And as we said, a wild card is not out of question for these teams. Here's Dinello's kickoff from the 35. Nelms is back deep in the end zone and lets it go on through, and the Redskins will get it at the 20.
That's a nice break for the Giants, Tommy. They don't want Nelms to run that football. He's the best in the business, not only returning punts, but kickoffs also.
Here's the offensive lineup now. Theismann, as we've said, has been extremely efficient the last few weeks. He's the quarterback. Joe Washington, who does everything. Terry Metcalf will be the receiver, not the ball carrier. Art Monk, and they're the two tight ends. Jacoby, Grimm, Bostic, Saul, and the veteran George Stark. First offensive play on the 20. The lone back is Washington, who gets the call, runs straight at the right side and only pick up a couple of yards. And here's the defense, and it's a good one. I mean, really good. They didn't give up a touchdown in a loss last week to Green Bay. McGriff playing the left end. Bill Neal, the rookie at nose. Gary Jeter, very healthy and one of the best in the business. Linebackers, Van Pelt, Kelly, Carson Taylor, they are the leading tacklers in the Giants team. They're good. The secondary, Haynes and Jackson at the corners. Bill Courier, a very good guy to come in 1 year, and Beasley Reese back at the safety spot.
Lawrence Taylor is limping a little bit after that first play. Hopefully it's not serious.
Second down and 6. Washington, there's a flag thrown in the play. It looks like some unsportsmanlike or some elbows were flying. Harry Carson made the tackle.
Well, they're going to get an offensive holding call.
Looked pretty flagrant, didn't it? Referee is Freddie Wyant. Holding against the Redskins, the preliminary call. Tom Hensley, head linesman, is Ed Marion. Line judge is Wilson Gossier. Back judge is Dick Hantack. Side judge is Vince Jacob. And the field judge is Bobby Wortman.
Holding, number 74, second down.
That's George Stark having some trouble with big Curtis McGriff.
Well, that play was on the other side of the line there, so I guess he was trying to prevent McGriff from pursuing. One thing about this offense, you can get away with one back there with a guy like Washington, and you have two tight ends, which kind of makes the 3-4 defense, the outside linebackers, it pretty evens things up. You can go to either side with his quickness. He can go to either side.
Metcalf in motion now. Back to throw his first pass. Joe Theismann on 2nd 16. Drills it low and it's dropped. Washington had it for a moment, but he was closely covered. Carson was right there on top of it. Well, the numbers have really improved. 6 200-yard days, but he's really cut down the INTs, hasn't he?
He has. You look at statistics, they can be very deceiving. The Redskins were way up there offensively, and defensively they were holding teams down in yardage. Now it's kind of reversed. The Redskins are being out-yardaged in their games, but they're winning those games. And the big thing is the scoreboard. They're getting more points than the other team, and that's still what it's all about.
You don't mind giving up the yardage as long as you win somehow. Here it is now, 3rd down and 16. Monk in motion, reverse motion now. Back to the right side. You got strong side to the bottom of the field. Here across the middle, wide open. Metcalf catches it at the 30 and gets out to the 33. A first down and a real good throw by Joe Theismann.
Well, he did a good job. He had, of course, that time, Don Warren was in motion going the other way. Metcalf went out and hooking over the middle, so they started looking at Warren in motion to the other side, and Brian Kelly didn't get back far enough, and Carson, number 53, was kind of intimidated by Warren and didn't get back into that deep zone area, and Theismann picked out the right receiver. Good throw.
I was surprised the Giants didn't blitz that time. They didn't put any pressure on him at all. 1st and 10 now. The ball out on the 33. Tight end in motion. He stays in now as a safety valve, and Theismann goes across. Intercepted by Kelly at the 35. Brian Kelly inside the 25, still on his feet, and just about the 13-yard line.
Well, we're going to get a chance to see this again, and Theismann would like to have this pass back. He thought he had the right defense. He thought he had Washington man-to-man on Carson. He was looking at him all the way, and Kelly came from the other side, and picked it off and timed it just right. Kelly was not influenced at all by the motion because Theismann was looking directly at Washington, and as a linebacker in the zone, you look at the quarterback, he went with the quarterback and made the interception.
Kelly's second interception of the year, and good field position. First set. The inside handoff to number 21 by Sims. That's Lewis Jackson, the rookie out of San Luis Obispo out in California. Carpenter is hurt. Monty Coleman made that tackle, the fast linebacker for the Skins, and suddenly the Giants break out in the crowd, while there are a few people that didn't come today or watching at home seem to love it.
Well, Joe, in those first 5 games, had 11 interceptions. He's had 4 in the last 5 games, so that's been a big factor. And, of course, that pass right there he'd like to have back and set up the Giants in good shape right here.
Perkins in motion to the right side. Sims now. Inside handoff to Lewis Jackson. Goes up and over and close to the 5-yard line. He's about a 195-pounder who Perkins says has good eyes. He can find the holes, and they think he's going to be a good back. Tony Peters made the tackle.
Lewis's only problem is really making some mistakes, and here we see the new backfield in there with Jackson and Perry, and of course Perkins and Freedy are at the wide receivers. And Perkins is having a great year for the Giants.
Up front, it's Brad Benson. The rookie from Wake Forest, Bill Ard, is starting at left guard. Jim Clack is back out of retirement. Turner, and of course Gordon King and Gary Schurtz, the tight end. Here it is now, 3rd down and 4 on the 6. Sims back to throw. Got time to throw it. Touchdown. Perkins catches his 6th touchdown catch of the year.
You know, it looked like Murphy was going to get in position on that play, number 29. He just came across a little bit late, and he also came too shallow. He thought the ball was going to be thrown right over the goal, and he came shallow, and Sims zipped it right by.
The extra point, and he's drilling it. It's good. The Giants break out in a hurry. A Brian Kelly interception and a touchdown. Sims to Perkins. It's 7-0 New York. The coach of the Giants, Perkins, on the sidelines in rain gear and very happy, even though he doesn't show a lot of emotion there. He's talking to Sims. Boy, wham, bam, thank you, man. Not bad. 7-0 early.
Well, it happened quickly, and Kelly made his 2nd interception of the season. Of course, it's a big one. He's the leader, and he calls the signals on defense, and he called the right signal.
Donello kicking to Mike Nelms. As Roger said, one of the great run-back guys in history. This one's not going to be, it's out of the end zone. A tremendous kickoff with the win. The 11th touchdown pass for Sims, who sat out last week with that groin pull. And here's Joe Theismann now in 1st and 10. Still 2 tight end offense. Handoff, little delay to Washington. Joe goes off the left side. He may have gotten a yard. He also gets collared by Jeter.
You know what they do in this offense? They hand off to Washington. He's got the opportunity to go all the way from inside to out. And the blocking is basically man-on-man blocking, and sometimes you switch up the blocking with the guards in what they call G blocks, where the guard might pull or he might trap. But really, it's Washington running the daylight most of the time with man-to-man blocking, and he's got so much quickness that once he sees that daylight, he's into the hole and into the secondary.
He picked up 2 at 2nd down and 8 on the 22. Man in motion is the big tight end. Back to throw. He's got 4 receivers out. Theismann going across the middle. Number 88 takes it in, Ricky Walker, with a good diving catch at the 45. Bill Courier made the tackle.
Well, that's a great job. Theismann throws an interception early, and here's Walker in motion, and you got to forget about it. You got to still come back. This offense is geared to be wide open. This time he looked to the left, looked a little bit off, and of course hit Walker down the middle, who was in motion, came into the seam, and nice catch by Walker, and a good throw, and a lot of guts by Theismann.
Kelly almost got a hand on it, but Theismann just laid it over there on target. Metcalf right to the right with Monk. Monk now going in motion. 1st and 10. The ball's in the 46 column. Inside handoff. Washington gets outside. Van Pelt crashing down for a loss. Bad elbow at all. He's had that hyperextended elbow, and a painful thing an elbow is. The linebacking for the Giants has been superb all year.
This is the toughest thing you do against the Giants, is try to get outside. These linebackers, Van Pelt and Taylor, got the quickness. You just can't get outside them. They're number 2 against the rush, and the only way you can do any good is mainly inside the linebackers. Getting outside against the Giants with their pursuit, and the strength of those outside linebackers is extra tough.
Well, it's really tough to run against. I bet you spent some time trying to figure out the 34, huh? Well, 2nd down and 12.
That's for sure.
Back to
There's a quick screen out to the left.
Not getting any pressure. Dumps at the screen to the right to Washington, who gets almost to midfield.
He had the screen set up both ways that time. Walker was out to the left, and Joe Washington out to the right, and Of course, he picked Washington that time, and it was a good game.
Van Pelt and Carson making the tackle. Actually, Gibbs's offense looks like it's much more simple than we saw him earlier in the year. Do you think he's cut some of the frills out?
Well, it looks like it can be a little complicated with the move and the motion, but you're right, Tommy. It is pretty simple. They've got the ability to quick screen draw, go inside with Washington, or go downfield into the seams, into the open areas with those two tight ends or the backs. That time he had the quick screen look, and you can also fake the quick screen, have the linebackers react and go downfield. So it's a good, solid concept.
Third down at 6. Theismann's on the run. He's going to run for the first down. And is finally knocked out of bounds right into the Redskin bench. A first down. Terry Jackson finally made the tackle, and Little Joe still averages 5 yards a scramble, I should say.
He's got good feet. Last week he made a big play against Detroit. That 25-yard gain to set up that last field goal was a key play in the game, and of course that last drive. And here he goes. He gets outside, looking downfield, and big Bill Neal, number 77, can't catch him, and it takes 24 Terry Jackson to knock him out of bounds. But he's still got a lot of mobility, quick feet, good arm. I like him as a quarterback. He struggled early in the year, but he's come on strong this second half.
It's the first time I've ever heard you say you like the Redskin. It's 1st and 10. The ball's at the 42. Walker in motion, a tight end. Inside handoff. Riggins is in there now. The big fella going straight ahead, and he's healthy. And he's a load when he's healthy. Jeter making the tackle. And Neal, the young nose tackle.
I think John Riggins, right now, is probably explosion off the ball isn't quite what it used to be. Once he gets up ahead of steam, though, he's as good as he's ever been. He can run over people. He's got a lot of strength, and he's an asset, especially once he gets an open hole and into that secondary. He can really run over people. 7
touchdowns rushing for Riggins. It's 2nd down and 5. The ball's in the Giant 37. Walker's in motion. Riggins again up the middle, trying to find something against that 34. Let's go to Brent Musburger now in New York and get an update. We want to hear this one too, Brent.
As Terry Bradshaw goes, so goes record now 6-5 as they down Atlanta. Back to you.
And a very big game for the people right here. The Giants are 5-5, and that's what the Atlanta Falcons used to be. They're now 5-6.
Well, the Rams lost also, so these two teams are in it for a wild card spot.
3rd and short, less than a yard. Handoff, Riggins behind the blocking. Gets out, looks like he has the first with a yard to spare. Running at the side where Jeter patrols that line of scrimmage. This telecast is presented by authority of the National Football League and is intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the New York Football Giants and the National League is strictly prohibited.
You got to admire a coach like Joe Gibbs. He really got off to a shaky start, but he's using his personnel extremely well now between Metcalf and Washington and Riggins and Walker and Warren, and he's just doing a good job using people.
Riggins hit at the line of scrimmage, bounces off. The big fella has good speed outside and carrying the tackler with him. Mark Haynes took a little ride then, the cornerback, trying to tackle Riggins, who still goes about 230.
Well, he doesn't hit a hole as quick as Joe Washington. Not many do, but he's got the strength. He bounces off one. Once he gets up that head of steam right now, he does have good speed for a big man, and he can run over people, puts an elbow down right there. And, of course, big number 36, Mark Haynes, is having a great year. Finally collars him and bulldogs him down.
There's Riggins coming to that Washington sidelines. The Skins lost 5 games before they turned it around. They've won 4 of their last 5, a whole new season. It's 1st and 10 on the 15. Ricky Walker in motion, almost went too early. Joe Washington gets through the hole and gets to the 10-yard line. Rick Taylor made the tackle. That Giant touchdown, by the way, was the first quarter touchdown the Giants have scored in 81. That is a hell of a statistic.
It really is, when they're the only team in the NFL until that touchdown who had not scored in the first quarter this year. There's the coaching staff. And
that's Gibbs there with the purple hat with the headset across the top of it.
And 2 coaches there. One of them's live. The other guy is dead. not literally, but calling signals.
Walker's in motion to tight end. A handoff to Joe Washington, who stumbles and sort of handled there by Van Pelt.
The Giants are doing a good job up front. Bill Neal's a rookie, and the key guy in that 3-man front system is the nose guard, and he's doing a good job. He's pretty much given a stalemate up front, giving the linebackers a time to react, and also keeping guards and centers off those linebackers, which is a key responsibility for a nose guard. And Bill Bill Neal has been a pleasant surprise for the Giants this season.
Are you surprised that the Redskins are running rather effectively against this good defense? It's 3rd down and 5.
Well, I think Riggins has run nicely, and the Redskins have got the capabilities of running. There's a receiver open, Ricky Thompson.
Touchdown. Ricky
play.
Thompson bouncing off the cornerback and getting free in there, and Theismann did make it a good one. Boy, he's still quick on his feet.
Well, Thompson's got 3 TDs. This is his 4th one, and here's Theismann. He's looking downfield. It looks like a planned scramble right here. He's rolling to the right, keeping the linebackers solid for a minute, and Thompson breaks to the outside, and he just beats Bill Courier for the touchdown.
Out of Baylor, and a darn good receiver. He's been a good one for quite a while, hasn't he? Don't you like him?
Well, Ricky's got the good hands. He makes big plays. He's got 3 touchdowns, and he's done a good job for the Redskins this year and has made some clutch receptions.
Moseley ties it up. We've still got 4:59 left in the first period, and we may have a barn burner after all. The lights are on, and both teams are hot. It's a 7-all tie, Washington and New York. What a drive. 80 yards in 12 plays, and that's the 12th touchdown pass for Joe Theismann this year. Well controlled.
It was really good about that drive. That's sometimes you don't recognize. It came after an interception, after a mistake. And the Redskins early in the year were making mistakes, and they seemed to get down, and Joe Theismann especially, but he came right back, took him 80 yards after an interception. That's impressive.
Moseley kicks a balloon ball. Like I said, against the wind. It's mishandled at the 15-yard line by Pittman. Pittman breaks out over the 45-yard line. Is Baylor about the 47. Sims, the quarterback. They're in the out. Perry and Jackson. Here's the fake. Sims back to throw it, goes to the outside, and picks up Perry as fullback at the 40-yard line.
That was a good job by Sims that time. Monty Coleman was zipping to the outside, and Olkowicz was also going to that weak side, and Perry turned in between the two of them. Coleman couldn't get back, and Sims picked out a good receiver.
Here's that defense. Mendenhall has moved to the left in place of Lorch. Butts, the big fellow, always there. Perry, and of course, Manley. Dexter, the rookies at right defensive end. Jarris White, Joe Lavender Peters, and Mark Murphy. That's secondary. Here's Lewis Jackson being thrown for a loss back to the 45.
Good job by Dusick that time. He really penetrated and forced the run, and Jackson just couldn't get around that outside, thanks to Brad Dusick.
Brad's missed 2 games, the last 2 games, with that knee problem he's had, but he plays that outside about as well against the run as anybody.
Yeah, he does a great job. He's had the back problem earlier in the year and coming off the offseason. And
you know, Texas Aggie, isn't he?
Yeah, he's solid, too. He came over from New England, and that's one of the real good trades that Washington has made.
Second down and 15 now. Sims going to throw it, you think, Roger?
I think he's in a running situation to trick him on a draw or a screen.
There's the fake draw. Sims getting a lot of time. He's trying to screen to the outside. Gets away and throws the ball away. Almost intercepted by Dusick. Let's go to New York right now and get an update from Brent Musburger. Brent? First, it's a 3rd down and 15 now. Perkins comes inside of the slot. Sims is going. He ran a good route and he's clear down to about the 25-yard line. Toter Peters pushed him out. A good pattern.
Perkins came inside and it was man-to-man on Peters. He made a little bit move to the inside in towards the post route into the middle of the field, broke back outside and got a step on Peters. He did a nice job. He ran a good pattern. There he was, broke to the outside. It was man-to-man all the way, and Sims picked it up.
Good pass blocking and a good route by Perkins, who's healthy this year and came in with 40 catches and has a touchdown already this afternoon. The ball's on the Redskin 24. 3:18 left in the first quarter. He backs. The fake. Sims back to throw again. Got time. Dumps it into Perry's hands. Intercepted by Murphy at the 7-yard line. The ball went right off the fullback's hands, and it was right in there. That was catchable, wasn't it?
It was catchable. It was rifled in there by Sims. Perry had a step. Of course, those tip passes result normally in the interceptions. It was play action, trying to hold the linebackers. He held them a little bit, but then he hit the ball, and of course, it was right there. He should have caught it. It was extra hard. He didn't have to throw it that hard. And of course, Murphy does a good job in the tip drill.
The 5th interception for Big Murphy. And Sims is feeling low, but it's still a 7-7 game. This is Arguello against Roberto Elizondo, ranked number 3 by the WBC. It's a good-looking fight. It's going to be CBS Sports Saturday, 4:30 Eastern Time, 3:30 Central on CBS. Here's a handoff. Riggins from the remaining back position comes out. The ball started on the 10-yard line. Bill Neal made the tackle. Did any college team turn out as many pros as the University of Pittsburgh did last year? This Neal, the nose tackle that the Giants had, was on that team.
Neal's on the Giants, of course, and Grimm and May on the Redskins, and around the league there's probably about 6 or 7 other players.
This young man has really done a job.
Pittsburgh's #1 right now in the country.
They're still banging, still getting the good people. 2nd down and 6. The ball's on the 14. Here's the draw to Joe Washington, who finds some running room out to the 19. Van Pelt made the tackle. For you people that are just joining us that have been watching Los Angeles and Cincinnati, that was the one the Bengals won 24-10. We welcome you to Giant Stadium. Under the lights, a little bit of mist or rain falling, the wind is blowing. We've got a 7-all tie. Touchdown pass by Joe Theismann to Ricky Thompson, and a touchdown pass from Sims to Perkins for the Giants on their very first possession after an interception. Welcome. And it's 3rd down and 1. Short yardage time. Riggins, the big fella, out over the 21-yard line. Gary Jeter made the tackle, but with room to spare, the Jayhawker gets the first down.
Well, we welcome that audience. The Cincinnati game was a big factor with the Bengals beating the Rams. Of course, the Bengals are riding high in the AFC, but the Rams are 5-6. Atlanta's 5-6. These two teams today could come out either 5-6, or the Giants could go ahead with a 6-5 record. So it's a big game based on the records today in this wild card struggle.
Only 4 teams in the NFC over 500. It's been a tough year. Here's the handoff. Riggins being worked hard. He likes it that way. Out to the 26. Brian Kelly making the stop. Now, this Giant team has only been allowing a 17-point average and a little over 100 yards rushing per game. They're second against the rush, and it looks to me like the Redskins think they can load up and go at it.
The Redskins have a lot of confidence in the rush time. In the last few weeks, they've been averaging about 168 yards rushing with the concept of the one back in the backfield, the 2 tight ends being able to run either side. So they've got confidence in the rush. They feel if you have that confidence, you still have to run against the best.
2nd down and 6. Walker in motion. Here's the handoff. Riggins. He doesn't get it this time. McGriff nails him right away with help. Riggins is shaking his helmet a little bit. That McGriff's a load. He came in, what, at around 300 pounds. They got him down to about 270 now.
Alabama guy there, and Pat Hodgkin really liked him. The Bear liked him, and he's got his weight down. He's done an excellent job for the Giants this year. And of course, with he and George Martin in there, and Neal and Jeter in the pass rush situation, they've done a good job also.
Riggins, 39 yards on 7 carries. This will be they may not get this play off. The first quarter is now history. Number 7, there's 7s everywhere. It's a 7-7 tie, New York and Washington. And we got 3 quarters to go. 3rd down, 5 to go. The ball's in the 26. Metcalf's start over. Art Monk. I bet he hasn't dropped a ball like that even in practice.
Well, this time Joe Theismann had everybody going downfield. Monk coming underneath, and they just cleared everyone out. Metcalf was downfield. The tight end, boy, they just had everybody downfield. The linebackers are back. Monk all by himself for the first down and just dropped the football.
Did Doe throw that one too hard? That one looked catchable.
No, he just dropped that ball. Probably took his eyes off it. He couldn't believe he was that open.
Mike Connell back to kick. Leon Bright, the young punt returner. Everybody looks. The Giants get the football. And we still have a 7-7 tie in the second period. Rain coming down. This was a 4 o'clock start. It's not real cold, Roger. I don't think that's affecting anybody's hands, do you?
That's on the field. It's not too cold, but it's the wind. Of course, the rain is coming down harder than the drizzle that started at the beginning of the game.
Sims is 3 for 5 for 38 yards. The touchdown, the interception. Here's Lewis Jackson getting to the 40-yard line. Brant Dusick making that tackle. Beat the blitz that time.
Well, here's Jim Clack. Clack is back. We're trying to see him. He wasn't back on that play.
He bought his back.
Barry Brooks slipped off of him a little bit. Jackson was held about a 2-yard gain. But Jim Clack is replacing Ernie Hughes. He's a veteran, and he's come back. They say he's in pretty good shape, but that's a test. He's just lucky he's not in that 3-man front with the guy over him all the time.
He's got Perry Brooks over him right now. They're in an over defense. Man in motion is Lewis Jackson on 2nd down and 8. Sims back to throw again. He's getting some heat this time. Now he steps up, moves the pocket, almost intercepted by number 51, Monty Coleman, the linebacker. Okay, let's go to New York now and get an update from Brent Musburger. Boy, my old buddy Mike McCormick, I feel sorry for him. What a tough year he's had at Baltimore. He deserves a better fate than that. 3rd down and 8 now. The rain is coming down hard. It's Ernie Gray in motion. He stays on the inside. Sims on a quick drop, dumps it out to Lewis Jackson, who's open. Into Redskin territory to the 42-yard line. Murphy finally made a tackle with Dusek. The blitz again. That time they threw right where the linebacker came from, huh?
That's right. That's a good play that time. He had Jackson out in the flat. He's looking downfield. Coleman, see the mistake? He's pointing. He thought the cornerback was coming up in that short area, and Coleman was going to play zone, but he pointed out there and realized, hey, there's nobody out there. That's my man. And Sims did a good job hitting the open man, and it's a big gain for the Giants.
1st and 10 on the 41. Straight ahead.
Sometimes you see mistakes on the defense, and
was Perry making the carry there.
You see Coleman's expecting the cornerback to roll up and take that short outside area, and he doesn't do it, and there's a miscommunication somewhere. That's where you see people roam free in the secondary. When they do roam free, normally it's a mental mistake and not so much physical.
The mental ones will kill you too.
Oh, third.
2nd down 5.
They're disastrous.
Shirks in motion, the tight end. Stays in the slot, and Sims gets hit in the back and rifles it out of bounds. The big rush by Dave Butts. And when that 285-pounder hits you, it's got to give you some whiplash.
Well, that jersey fits on him. It's a 52.
Extra
large and long and wide. Dave is having a great season. He's playing the run as good as any defensive tackle in the league. His pass rushing abilities are good also. He's got 3 traps, but his strength is the run. He's very solid this year, and I would say he's Pro Bowl caliber the way he's playing.
Boy, he plays steady. Every Sunday he plays. A 3rd down and 5. A big one for Sims and company right now. The Redskins may have jumped off. They did. The flags are flying. A free one for Sims.
That's a free one. He's right.
Being chased and throws it away. Flags are all over the place.
Boy, that one official, the only one official didn't throw a flag that time.
Illegal contact, number 23, 1st down.
Tony Peters making illegal contact. Well, when they take contact out of football, you might as well go home.
No.
Automatic first.
Well, if it's illegal, you should take it out of football. You defensive backs are suspect at times.
Always. Peters a good one, too. It's a 1st and 10 on the 31, a handoff to Perry, who really finds a good hole and gets down to the 22-yard line. Straight ahead, Monty Coleman finally making the tackle. What a burst. Carpenter, of course, has a bad hip pointer, and that's the most painful thing. Coach Perkins was talking about it yesterday, and Ray said, I just can't send him in there. You cannot protect a hip pointer. You used to have a few, didn't you?
Well, the hip pointer it's a sore area. For running back, you can't get away with it. A quarterback, you can limp back there a little bit. But a running back or wide receiver, hip pointers are very tough to play with.
2nd down and 1, a 9-yard pickup by Perry on that burst. It's Perry again. He moves and changes direction, gets almost to the 20 before he stacked up.
Leon Perry does a good job for the Giants. He had a big game last year. They upset the Cowboys here, and it's a day similar to this. A little drizzle, cold, 35-34, and Leon Perry was very instrumental in that game. And they think he's got a good future here with the Giants.
You know, he's stocky. He's 224 on a 5-foot 11-inch frame. He gets below you, he can carry you to the outside of the parking lot. The rain is coming down. The lights are on. And by gosh, everybody has shown up in rain gear, but they're here.
Well, there's 2 empty seats over there, Tommy.
Well, I'm glad we're not out sitting in the rain. I would shrink. Here we go on 1st and 10. The ball's on the 21. Sims is handing off to Lewis Jackson. Lewis Jackson waits for his blocker and gets to the 15-yard line. Boy, he waited nicely on that. Olkowitz making the tackle.
Well, Lewis Jackson had a great preseason for the Giants. They like his speed. He's made some mistakes when he's played. They've worried about that a bit. Today, they've had to put him in there. They, again, feel that he's going to grow with this team, but so far this season, he's only had 44 yards, so this is a big test for him today against the Redskins.
Ernie Gray is in there. Be careful of number 83. Gray and Perkins together on the right side. Second down call. It's the weak side run with Jackson, who gets outside, is pulled down from behind by Coleman. A great tackle, and the flags are down.
Encroachment, number 76, second down.
That's the big guy from BYU. Second down and 1. Almost any play you've got in the book. They've got an option pass play. The Giants could almost pull out anything right now. You dare to look at the penalties, and Washington has all of them. The blitz is on again. That time they filled a hole with it. Peters came up very quickly. All right, let's go to Brent Musburger and another update. Okay, Brent. Get the rabbit's foot out.
First down.
It's an automatic first down.
He had a personal foul on that play. Face mask and
face mask?
Face mask, personal foul was the signal, and it was pulling the face mask, so they're pretty good shape. First down the 4-yard line.
They're going to take all the fun out of this game. It's first and goal to go on the 4. 7-7 tie. 11-10 left in the first half. High formation. Wes Jackson goes in standing. The rookie keeps the ball. Billy Hart, the rookie left guard, and Benson did a good job on that side. They really split it.
Jackson's happy. I believe it's his first touchdown. They're in the I formation. Good lead block by Perry. Bam, he just knocks Olkowitz right there, and Jackson scoots in. Good blocking at the point of attack also, but the lead block by Perry really sprung him loose, and a lot of daylight. Jackson's got the speed, gets in the end zone.
You're right. That's his first touchdown. He'll put that ball right on the mantelpiece. And now Danello. Give the Giants a 7-point. Oh, Scott Bruner, the hold of the quarterback, gets a bad snap and then tries a pass to Shirk in the end zone.
I don't think Shirk knew the ball was bad, and all of a sudden he looked around, saw it in the air. And
McClassen is asking about the snap to Scott Bruner. Here it is.
We can see right here. Looks like a pretty good snap. The ball looked a little slippery, and Shirk is coming out late. Then he realizes what's going on and almost catches it.
Extra points were automatic.
Well, here's Danello, of course. He has a timing situation there, and Bruner bobbled the snap. Danello went to kick it, and it really got on the tee late. He was already into his follow-through and had to pull back, and little miscommunications there, and a bobbled snap by Bruner.
And it might be an important point. It's 13-7. Here's Danello now from the 35. He gets a hang time on this one. It's going to be taken by Nelms at the 5. Nelms at the 20 and up and over. And buried on about the 25-yard line. Numbers on Joe. 10:58 left in the first half. Ricky Walker in motion. Theismann, quick drop, trying to go outside. Now he's going to scramble. Directing as he goes, dumps it off. That's Warren, the tight end, making the catch.
He got his bell run a little bit.
He'll be running to Carson making that tackle. Here it is.
It shows his pursuit. He gets over there, and Carson, the two of them bang heads. And
he almost speared the Warren, the ball carrier, the receiver. It's second down and 2. Good first down play by Riggins. Is hit, but still gets back almost to the 35-yard line just with his power. Taylor made first contact. Weak side force that time. Taylor, the man they say could be the rookie of the year.
He and Hugh Green are going to be battling now. Two great linebackers having tremendous years this year and have made a difference. Both of them made a difference on their team in their rookie years. And
Taylor already has 6.5 sacks.
6.5 sacks.
I don't know how you get a half a sack, but it's better than no sack at all.
A lot of tackles. He pursues well. Great speed.
First down play. Ricky Walker's in motion. Straight back. He's got time. Across the middle to Warren. Warren at the 45-yard line before he's throttled by Brian Kelly.
I'll tell you what Joe did that time. He was really looking Carson off that time and threw the ball to Warren. And here's the line play inside. Here's Neal, number 77, is doing a good job running over people. Ron Saul and puts a lot of pressure on Theismann. And of course, in that 3-4 defense, it's very tough for a nose guard to get in on the quarterback. So actually, Neal's doing a good job.
Excellent job. It's a tough place to play. It's second and not much. Second to foot. A fake. Theismann going. Trying to get the Metcalf. Now he's looking for Monk. He's going to go ahead and run it. He has the first down into Giant territory and out of bounds at the 48. Boy, Theismann looks like he's really under control.
You know, what he was looking for was Metcalf in what they call the fade area. The cornerback comes up, the safety is back, and you try to hit it in between. New York knew that Theismann liked to throw that pass, especially to Virgil C. last week, and they were really ready for it. The safety is not giving too much in the middle of the field. He's really helping out over on the wide receivers, and Theismann had to pull that back and scramble with the play, but Metcalf was the receiver, and he was covered.
6 of 9 for 75 yards, a touchdown and an interception. The numbers on Joe Theismann. They're in Giant territory. Outside, Joe Washington is very rudely dropped by number 76, Curtis McGriff.
Well, McGriff did a good job. He came right down the line of scrimmage that time, and he wasn't really touched, and he pursued well, and he didn't get too far into the backfield to let Washington go by. He really took a good angle and met Washington a yard past the line of scrimmage, and that was it.
I keep thinking what Dorsett said after they rather easily beat the Giants, though, that Dorsett for Dallas said that this was one of the toughest hitting defensive teams that he had played against in a long time.
They're a tough defense. There is probably, next to the Eagles, are the best defense in the NFC right now.
2nd down and 8. Theismann, not rushed, dumps it out in the flat. Joe Washington makes one person miss and gets to the 45. Saul was out there blocking for him, and George Martin made the tackle.
Martin, again, good pursuit to get out there. Martin that time wasn't fooled a great deal, and Carson was over there to help also.
Martin has a great lateral pursuit, though. He's a good pass rusher anyway. He's had the elbow problem, too, this year, hasn't he?
He has, and he was questionable all week. This team is well coached by Bill Parcells. They put the 3-man, 4 linebacker defense in training camp. They're very comfortable with it. They play it well. They don't make a lot of mistakes like the Giant team in the past. So it's a well-coached defense. They're usually in position to make plays, and of course that time they were there on the quick screen.
Boy, the crowd's calling for it now for the defense on 3rd down and 6. Theismann going all the way with it, and it's underthrown as Ricky Thompson is running it up a straight pattern. Mark Haynes right there.
You know, there's something that goes unnoticed a little bit. Haynes did not look back at all that time, and Thompson did something smart. He knew the ball was short, so he didn't look back for the ball. Or Haynes could have looked back and intercepted this ball. Haynes never looked back, and it had a lot to do with Thompson. Haynes' job is to stay with the receiver. When the receiver looks back, you look back. Thompson knew it was short and
good
prevented the interception,
Carson,
really.
Too. Good pressure by the linebacker. He almost broke Theismann in half. Connell back to punt now, trying to knock it out inside if he can. Good hang time. That's Bright. Going to get away from it and let it roll. If it rolls, on the run, they're chasing it. It made the end zone or didn't make the end zone. It's a touchback. It'll come out to the 20. The rain is coming down here at the Meadowlands. And, of course, the Giants have a 13-7 lead. Sims now from the 20. The handoff to Lewis Jackson, the rookie, sort of slow making the corner. He finds the ball, and the Redskins have it. Monty Coleman recovers and steps out of bounds. And the Redskins have a golden opportunity.
Jarris White is a little shaken up, and they can't afford to lose Jarrett with Lamar Parrish out. But there was some hits that time. Butts did a good job in his pursuit, number 65. And here's Jackson coming across. Watch Big Butts there. He knocks off the guard, Art, and really lets Dusack get a knock in there. And, of course, Butts cleans up also. Great play by Dave Butts.
I tell you, it was a sort of a tentative run. I didn't think Lewis Jackson keeping out there like he was really trying to get to the corner, like he was wondering.
I think he was waiting for Ard, the guard, to get out in front. Ard, the guard.
There's Coleman.
But Butts really knocked Ard off and set up the tough hit that caused the fumble.
Falls on the 22. The Redskins have it. Handoff to Riggins, who slips and falls down, gets back up, and now is being ushered back to where Theismann's standing. McGriff and Neal were there. Riggins' feet went out. You played on the wet AstroTurf. Any comments about the rug?
Well, of course, the AstroTurf, when it's raining, the disadvantage is it's extremely slippery. Of course, the advantage is you don't have the mud and the slop, but you still have a slippery surface, and it's really to the offense's advantage because you know where you're going, and it's tough for the secondary. Those guys, if they slip, they can cause a touchdown.
Good point. Ricky Walker's in motion. Here's the draw play to Joe Washington, who breaks outside and good tackle at the 25-yard line by Taylor. Boy, what a tackle in the open field of a very dangerous runner.
Well, Taylor really makes a hit right here, and again, it's the draw, which has been very successful for Washington. Neal does a good job playing off his block, and Kelly and makes Washington go to the outside. He couldn't get inside with Kelly and Neal, and there was big Lawrence Taylor, number 56, ready to clean up and made an excellent hit.
What's he going, about 238, 240?
He's about 240 and runs about a 4.6 40-yard dash. So
good gosh,
he's pretty darn fast for a big man.
He's a rich one too. He's a #1 draft. 3rd down and 12. Theismann rolling out. He has some time now. Carson gets it. Carson runs over the blocker and makes the tackle. What are they going to call this? Theismann got up and tried to run again.
I think he thought that George Stark really was pushed into him and knocked him over, but the Giants also got a hand on him.
Watch for 53.
I've been looking, and again, it looks like a planned play to get to the outside and get around Martin, number 75. There's Stark blocking, and he really is pushed into him, but of course, I don't know why he was trying to run. There's Carson on top of him.
I don't blame him for trying to run. Moseley now, 7 of his last 9. He kicked 4 for 4 last week. Theismann's the holder. From the 39, it's a 49-yard attempt. It's off to the right. It's no good. Moseley's looking at it, shaking his head a little bit. It was just long enough, but just to the right.
Well, that's a big lift for the Giants after turning the ball over there to hold the Redskins to nothing. Redskins need to get something out of that turnover.
5:27 left before halftime at the Meadowlands. The rain's coming down, and this ball game's beginning to boil. 13-7 New York.
Hopefully they've picked out probably a pass here, 2nd and 1.
In motion. Here's the draw play to Joe Washington, who's going to get outside. No, he's being chased by Van Pelt and makes the corner and stops the clock and gets out of bounds at the 15. Beasley Reese was chasing. Tell you, he is a very slippery customer.
I mentioned they'll be throwing the ball here. Threw it right into the belly of Joe Washington, and he broke to the outside. Here's his speed. Van Pelt's got good speed, and he can't get Washington to the outside. And again, the guy like Washington can hurt New York if you can get to the outside. This season, the Giants, as we mentioned earlier, #2 against the rush, and it is tough to get outside against this team.
This is the red zone area. That's what Joe Gibbs, the coach, calls inside the 20, and they're moving into the Giants' red zone. 1st and 10. Great drop back. A lot of heat on him this time. He's screening back to Washington, who gets a good block on the outside and is pulled down from behind by Harry Carson with a great tackle.
Harry Carson did do a good job, and big number 68, Russ Grimm, paid the price a little bit. He got up, he's hurting, limping back a little bit to the huddle. He might have hurt his shoulder. He's leaning over, but he put the hit on Taylor, and here's a quick play here.
Going to stop the clock. Theismann throws it into the wall, up against the wall, and the crowd lets the rival quarterback know what they feel about that. 15 seconds left. The ball is on the 12-yard line, a 3rd down and 8. All right, now Perkins is, of course, he's thinking defense. That Parcells has done some job in 1 year with the Giant defense. Came down from New England, installed that 34, and I don't think you get to the playoffs without having a real solid defensive club.
Well, they put it in training camp, and they've stayed with it. That way you learn what you're doing. Here's a big play. 3rd down. They've got to go into the end zone.
Metcalf down the middle, trying to get outside, and down the middle to number 81. Art Monk makes the catch coming under, but he didn't get a lot of yardage. 6 seconds left, and they burned their last time out. Now you take the 3, huh?
You've got to do it. You've got to kick the field goal. I'm surprised they threw it short. They didn't try to go in the end zone for the touchdown, but
keep in mind that 2 field goals will tie this game up because of the missed extra point by the Giants. And Moseley from here will probably hit a sand wedge. He's 0 for 1 today. He missed a 49-yard attempt. Boy, this guy, you guys used to accuse him of having an iron leg, didn't you? The right leg was always...
He could really boom him. He wears about 6 pairs of socks, I think. It's that bottom part of his leg is...
Socks must be made of iron.
Is heavy down there with...
Theismann holding. He can throw, of course. He's the quarterback. They wouldn't fake here and go for 1 play, would they?
I wouldn't think so.
Theismann's doing a lot of fooling around. 6 seconds left. A 13-7 New York lead is now cut to 3. Moseley trots off. Part of a day's work. A real good kicker for a long, long time. Here he's kicking off. Will he kick it deep now and just get these 3 seconds off, or do you take a chance? Leon Bright waiting.
I just kicked the thing on the ground, let it scoot along.
It's a scooter, just the way the quarterback called it. Taken by number 52. McLaughlin gets to the 35. On his way to fame and glory, McLaughlin gets dropped. That's it, a good first half. The rain has let up a little bit. It's New York 13, Washington 10.
It looks like all Redskins time of possession. It's a funny situation, though. The Redskins in their 0-5 series were out yardaging the teams, not outscoring. Now they're 4-1. They have given up more yardage, but they've really kept down the mistakes, the turnovers, the penalties, and they've won the football games. Here today, a lot of yardage, but not enough points.
Big turnover, of course. The opening pass interception by Brian Kelly. Ran it in deep, and Sims hit Perkins with a touchdown, and that was a large one indeed. The very first time that Washington put it up in the air. Moseley will kick off from the 35. He will have the wind to his back. It's no longer raining.
You know, one thing that there's a reason for mistakes and the lack of them. I think the Redskins are getting more comfortable with Joe Gibbs, his system. He's got to know his personnel and how to use them and where they play. And as players, you want to do a lot of things automatically, not worry about assignments and how you run your system. And they're getting more comfortable in it, and they're making less mistakes, and it's paying off for them.
84 takes it. That's Alvin Garrett. The kickoff. He breaks the tackle, gets up the sideline, and gets run out at the 37-yard line. A good run back by Alvin Garrett. And the crowd begins to get back in their seats and enjoy it.
Here's Garrett. He just goes to the left side and has good blocking up in front of him by Bright and breaks to the outside. Kaufman misses the tackle, and Metcalf is trailing a little bit. It's a good run by Garrett. Good blocking and a couple of missed tackles. Here's Moseley is the guy, I believe, that knocked him out of bounds. Let's watch, Mark. Sure enough, knocked him out of bounds.
He was a good all-around football player. Ball's on the 40, first and 10. Sims back to throw on the first play. Gets a little heat, now dances and drops it to Shirk, who drops it. Gary Shirk can't believe it.
Well, Mendenhall was in there with pressure, and so was our man, number 65, Dave Butts.
Well, the Giants have a little trouble blocking, twisting, stunning defensive teams. The Packers gave them an awful time in the first half a week ago by twisting and running stunts. And you've got a rookie at left guard, young Ard in there, and Benson and Gordon King at the tackles, J.T. Turner, who's been in there quite a while, so he's okay. And, of course, Clack is back, but, boy, it's tough coming back and starting to play right away. For the time, Sims going deep. Overthrows Moseley down at the 30-yard line. Oh, he really pumped that one up and overthrew him.
Well, he picked out a good receiver that time. Moseley was man-to-man on Dusac with some help from Murphy, the weak safety. Moseley had a step on him, but Dusac was back there in pretty good shape, and Sims didn't have much of it. He would have had to drop that one in a well, and he didn't do it.
A lot of quarterbacks here today. I saw Sonny Jurgensen down the road. He and Sam Hupp do the radio for Washington.
Theismann had a good first half. A lot of those were scrambles. Other than that interception to Kelly, he was pretty solid and got out of some trouble to hit some big plays.
Third down and 10. Perkins is in the slot. The blitz is on him. He's going deep for it. And Gray makes a great catch at the 15-yard line. Ernie Gray, who might drop one sometimes when it's easy, but man, he caught that one, and that was tough.
Well, when you get that big blitz, you got to give credit to that offensive line. They picked it up, did a good job, gave Sims that extra second to give Gray the opportunity to get by. Watch Perry here, number 30. He's got to be a factor on this blitz. Boy, he popped someone. And over the middle again, everybody picks up the blitz well. That gives Gray the chance to get behind Jarris White.
Oh,
he does it. He's got the speed. He likes to make the tough catch. He dropped one in his hands in the end zone against Green Bay. He always gets open, got good speed, and what a catch there.
45-yarder, and one of the great catches we've seen this year, and the crowd loves it. And, of course, Ernie Gray's confidence factor goes over the ceiling. First and 10 on the 15. And a handoff to Lewis Jackson, who loses a yard. Looked like the Redskins might be a little bit nasty. That line of scrimmage began to heat up. The safety blitz came, and they handled it.
Well, they came that time also to the outside, and good force by Peters that time. Jackson made a big run, about 15 yards on the similar play before when Coleman didn't force the run. This time Peters was the safety for us, and he got across the line of scrimmage, and Jackson had nowhere to go.
Dexter Manley made a good play over there, too, the rookie out of Oklahoma State. It's 2nd down and 12. The ball's on the 17. It's get tough time. 13-10 ball game. Little move by Perry, and then he gets inside the 15 to about the 12. Coleman making that stop. Looked like he sort of hesitated and then put it away and made the yardage.
He had a good burst. That would have been a good run on 1st down, but unfortunately it was 2nd and 12, and now they're in a passing situation, 3rd and 8. And it gets tough around that 12-yard line. You got the help of the end zones. You got extra people that are invisible back there with that end zone.
Got to throw it, right?
And it's tough to get it into the seams in this area.
3rd down and 7. In motion. Goes Brown. Looked like they might have been offside. Big number 99 came awfully early on that. Wilbur Young looked like he might have left a count or two early. Tough penalty. It'll bring up 3rd and very short yardage now.
Well, that is a bad time.
Encroachment.
That's a terrible time to get a penalty. They had a good pressure. Of course, part of it was because Wilbur Young went off sides. That makes it still pretty much a passing situation, but you can do either. And the Redskins now are bringing out their pass defense and bringing back in their rushing, bringing their linebackers back in. So they realize it could go either way.
It's amazing how now everybody has specialty.
Encroachment, number 99. 3rd down.
Wilbur Young.
They just changed their mind again, and they sent back in their pass defense. So they're thinking pass this time. They're playing the percentages. They got Nelms back in the game, so they switched around twice here, and it's an unsure 3rd and 2 situation.
Handoff to Bryant, who goes up over inside the 5-yard line. Leon Bryant somehow jumped over the pile of players and got the 1st down.
Well, the Redskins gambled and lost. They still had a defensive line in there, but again, they were thinking pass. The Giants saw what the Redskins had in the game. They decided to run from that I formation, got the 1st down. It's kind of a guessing game down there.
Of course, offsides down there. Of course, Wilbur Young hadn't played the entire afternoon. He comes in and jumps offsides on his 1st play. He might not be the MVP. 1st and goal. I formation. Perry and Bryant. Bryant, no. Over the top. Number 54 really makes a tackle. That's Cronin.
Everything is really tight down there. The line is tight. The Redskins have their people are really dug in. They're in their 4-point stance in the gaps, and what you do is try to jump over the lineman, which is pretty easy to do. The linebackers, though, have to guess right, and they have to hit you midair, which Cronin did that time, and he played it perfectly.
The big bulls are in there. It's 2nd down and goal. 1 yard away. High formation. It's Bryant up and over. They said he broke the pain. The arms go up. The crowd is now on its feet. And you can thank Ernie Gray for this one. Cronin and company do not think that Bright scored. That's Bright's 2nd touchdown. No, 1st touchdown. Lewis Jackson had the one earlier.
Here it is. Again, he's got the lead blocked by Perry, and Bright leaps over, and Cronin again is in pretty good position. And it's awfully close. The official's on the goal line, and he said he broke the plane of the goal and it's a touchdown.
I always felt like you should get into the end zone with it. I never liked that breaking the pain and all that. Get the ball in the end zone.
Breaking the pain or the plane?
The plane.
Rain on the plane.
Canelo's kick being held by Scott Brunner and held correctly. And the Giants, thanks to Ernie Gray's 45-yard reception, come out on top. It's 20-10. Bright on the sideline with that touchdown, and now Danello will kick off from the 35. Into the wind. Slug to the left side. Nelms takes him a dead run at the 5. Nelms, a very, very dangerous man, is tripped up at the 26-yard line.
You know, you learn from your mistakes, and the Giants gave up a punt return last week. They worked hard, especially there, to stop Nelms. They've done a good job containing Nelms.
Our punt has only caught 1 pass. Here's Theismann back to throw. Dumps it over to Riggins. Riggins at the 40-yard line and over the 40. Kelly in on that tackle.
Well, he's a bull. He just ran right into that pack.
Sat out a year. I think he probably needed this much time to sort of get his legs back. You can't sit out a whole season.
Well, that's tough. And he came to training camp. They said he was in good shape, and he did come to camp. His weight was down, and it still makes a difference. You got to get back into football shape again, and Riggins is getting there. He's a great back.
Seven on the all-time rushing list now. He just moved past Leroy Kelly today, didn't he? With 7 yards. Ball put away by Theismann. What was the reason for that on 2nd down and 10?
I think the adjustment there, the cornerback came up, the safety went over, and it's an automatic adjustment normally. Metcalf was new at that wide receiver. Theismann expecting to go into that fade area between the cornerback and the safety. He didn't do it, and Theismann just threw the ball where he thought he'd be, made sure it was out of bounds when he saw that Metcalf didn't get out there.
Metcalf doesn't quite have that burst he used to have when he was playing with St. Louis. Do you think he slowed a bit?
Just a tad, but he still looks good.
Ricky Walker outside now to receiver. Theismann being chased. He's going to run with it. Joe Theismann into Giant territory before he's tripped up, and there's a flag on the play.
Give that flag to Terry Jackson, number 24, for spearing.
Or spearing? Here's the rush by number 7.
It's going to be a late hit. It's a personal foul. Either he felt he drove his helmet in. That's what it was, the helmet. It wasn't so much a late hit, but you can't drive that helmet into a receiver, running back, or quarterback. That's a big one.
You cannot use it as a weapon. You're absolutely right.
Personal foul on the passer, number 24.
First Giant penalty on Terry Jackson. He moved from left corner to right corner, and Glick has done some job of that secondary for the Giants. Haynes is playing like an all-pro at the left corner now.
We really like Haynes over that left corner. He's had a great season for him.
1st and 10 call. The toss back to Joe Washington. Looked like he might be going for an option, but now it's ball at the 35-yard line. Mark Haynes came up quickly along with Taylor, chasing.
Watch, of course, here's Theismann. He's got a blown tire there.
Nifty little shoes there, right? Quarterback's just classy.
Taylor really strung that play out. Again, it's tough to get outside on the Giants. He just strung it out. He held Saul, the guard, trying to get around him, push him inside, and he just kept his arms out and strung the play out to the outside, and they lost a yard.
It is passing time. The rain has stopped a little bit. It's not too wet. It's 2nd down and 11. Art Monk goes in motion. Here's Theismann. He's got time. Now wide open receiver, Warren, inside the 20. And I mean wide open.
Well, Brian Kelly was the guy responsible. He slipped down. And again, this time Warren did a good job. He turned inside on Kelly, though, and then broke back out. Kelly slipped, and Theismann put it into him perfectly, and it's a good job by Warren. And that's where the defense is a disadvantage on slippery turf.
A weak side blitz, and it was picked up and handled. They haven't been able to sack Joe Theismann very much, and this is one of the best sack teams in football, the Giants. 1st and 10 on the 18. Tight end in motion. Here's Riggins piling into the middle. Nothing but aggravation there. Curtis McGriff stopped it and stole the ball. No, that's Jeter with the ball.
Well, the Giants are tough down in this area. As noted in the first half, the Redskins had the fumble recovery on about the 15 and were kicking a field goal back to the 25. So the Redskins have got to get something out of this drive.
Perkins' defensive team has allowed only 6 touchdowns rushing all year, and they played some bad people. The Philadelphians and the Dallases and those people.
They've only allowed 17 points a game, which is fantastic.
Monk very quickly in motion now, a zoom. And here's Theismann being chased by McGriff and tried to tackle by the jersey, and it's thrown away as Carson runs Theismann out of bounds.
Well, Theismann did a good job that time to get rid of it. McGriff showed a little speed to the outside, big number 76. He's down from 300 pounds. He's down to 290.
Tried to undress Joe Theismann.
Still looks big to me, and he showed a little speed. You know, Joe, in the opening game of the season we saw, was in a similar situation as that and tried to salvage the play, and it was intercepted, and it was a big play that Dallas made. This time, Joe wisely threw that out of the end zone.
A 3rd down and 8, facing Theismann. The ball's on the Giants 16. 8:33 in the 3rd period left. A lot of time. Straight drop back quickly going to the outside. And Monk jumps up over, has it, and then it's knocked away.
There's a flag. There's a flag there, and it was pushing on. Looks like Haynes, the referee's waving everybody to come downfield, so that's going to be defensive pass interference.
You see that Monk jump that time in the end zone? He was up above everybody, and Haynes stayed with him. They make flagging for interference.
Pass interference, number 36. The ball's on the 1-yard line. First down.
See if we can see this on a better view, but Monk did get up, almost caught the ball anyway. Evidently Haynes was pushing. It wasn't holding because they marked the ball down near the goal line, and I can't. If we see if we can see something better here.
You're playing goal line defense. You have to hit the receiver.
I don't see any obvious pass interference right there.
First and goal. Riggins straight ahead. He gets it. That's only the 7th one rushed into the end zone of the Giants this year, and obviously the crowd is not very happy.
Well, the crowd's not happy. The replay didn't show interference. He might have been hit past that 5-yard area, but here's Riggins busting over the middle over McGriff, and Kelly goes to the wrong side. Good block by Grimm, number 68, and Bostic, number 53. They do a good job in the middle, and it's an easy touchdown after the penalty.
Now Moseley will kick. Theismann puts it down. It's good, and the Redskins are back in the game. 2 costly penalties by the cornerbacks. One on Jackson for spearing, and one on Haynes for a very close call on interference. It's 20-17.
It's a bad call for the Giants. It's a good call for these guys.
It's too good a football play by both people. Here's Moseley kicking from the 35. It's got the hang time. It's kicking away. He's over toward Alvin Garrett, who had the good run back to start this half. He's got another one out to the 24-yard line. And Nelms hasn't gotten away, conversely speaking, with a run back in against the Giants. It's first and 10, the ball to the 25. The toss back to Lewis Jackson. Jackson dips. Coleman grabs him, gets part of him, and gets help from the secondary.
When you think about specialty teams, sometimes as the guys run it back, and Nelms really has been sensational this year, but the coverage teams are critical. They really set the tone for a game. They set the tempo as far as their enthusiasm, and they set field position.
Did you ever go down under a kickoff in any of your days as a football player? Did you ever go down?
Yeah, when I was in high school.
That's
the last time I wanted to go down.
Got education.
Well, I tell you, that's a different world out there.
Second down and 6. Here's the delayed bunt by Lewis Jackson. Gets out to about the 32, and he's piled up. Butts. Big Dave Butts. Lewis only weighs 190 pounds. Butts weighs 290. Second down and 6. 7:15 left in the third period, and we're back to a 3-point margin.
There's Dusak's looking inside. He's looking over the sidelines, getting the defensive signal.
Rich Pettibone is the one that puts the Redskin defense together. Murphy faking the blitz. The safety man's up there on 3rd down and 2. Handoff to Lewis Jackson, who is thrown for a loss by Tony Peters. And here comes Jennings without anything except booze ringing. Good play by Peters.
There's 3 ways to force a run. With the cornerbacks coming up, the safeties are back, so they've got to force. The linebackers can force, or the strong safety. Normally you force with your strong safety. It gives you more opportunities to do other things on defense. Peters has done a good job when he's forced today. When I say force, his object is to contain, don't let him get outside, and force the run back inside where Pursuit can pick it up. Peters has done a good job today on forcing the run.
McGlasson snapping to Jennings for his second punt. He gets a driller. This is going to give Nelms
slow though
run back opportunity from the 25. Good coverage. And it was Garrett. Alvin Garrett went down and made a sure tackle of a very, very dangerous run back man. There's Gibbs. His team's within 3, and this is a very important offensive series or defensive series, depending on where you're sitting.
Now the Redskins scored the last time, so the Giants have the pressure on them.
Riggins on the outside run. The fullback gets by Taylor to the 31-yard line. Beasley Reese finally making the tackle, and they got outside of the big rookie linebacker that time. You don't see that.
Well, the Redskins have had a couple of really excellent drives against a good Giant defense, and the way they've done it, they've mixed it up with the the run, but the pass has been the key thing. Theismann has hit some passes and into those tight areas, into those seams. He's hit the tight ends. He's also hit Metcalf, and he's really picked them apart when he's had some time back there.
Inside to Joe Washington. He breaks through a good hole and gets to the 40-yard line. A good-looking blocking job on the left side there by Jacoby and Grimm.
Well, it's an inside handoff this time, and Washington starts in, cuts back to the outside, just gets outside of big number 70, Gary Jeter, gets some good blocking on that side by Jacoby and Grimm.
And now 1st down and 10. The Redskins on their own 40. Fake. Theismann being rushed by Jeter, dumps it, and finds Warren. And Warren picks up about 7 yards. And now a little scuffle downfield as number 73, big Mark May, was down there mixing it up with Beasley Reese.
Well, May's been in there for Jacoby now. Here's the fake, the play action fake, and Theismann's looking downfield. And here's an asset that you just take for granted sometimes, but it's a big asset for a quarterback. He stepped aside of Jeter, which could have been a trap, finds Warren. Warren gets a couple extra yards after he catches the ball. But Theismann made the move. It really set the play up.
Monk's in motion on 2nd down and 4. Inside, straight ran by number 44. Right at midfield, Harry Carson tackling John Riggins. 1st and 10, the ball on the 50. The Skins are trailing, but they seem to have momentum. Riggins inside, gets away from Taylor, and is really hit as Beasley Reese comes up from the secondary. Van Pelt making the initial contact.
Beasley was in the gray area of spearing there also.
An 8-yard pickup by John Riggins. That hole opened up wide. Is Carson back in at the linebacking spot? Yes, number 53 is in.
Beasley Reese has done a good job in that secondary. He's playing weak safety for him. He's got 3 interceptions, and with Haynes and Jackson and Curry and those linebackers, the Giants are pretty solid past the line of scrimmage also.
Tight end in motion. Here's the handoff back to Joe Washington. Little Joe barely gets to the 40. He may have the first and he may not. Let's go to an update now to New York City and Brent Musburger.
Let's go back to Brookie and Roger Staubach. And Roger, your Cowboys are in trouble.
Okay, Brent. Of course, that's taking place up in the place where the Super Bowl is going to be, and Detroit's got it all tied up. 1st and 10 now on the 40. 2:46 left in the 3rd. Here's the delay handoff, and Taylor from behind tackles Joe Washington.
Well, that's the weak side blitz. Taylor comes from that weak side if they're lined up the other way, and Van Pelt if they're lined up to the left side. And of course, Taylor, that play just took too long. Taylor was blitzing, and Washington, the play was designed to take a little bit of time, but you can't take that much time with the speed of a Lawrence Taylor.
I think they just turn him loose a lot too and play what you see, and that's not a bad way to play it.
Sometimes it's best to go at a guy like that with his speed because he's a great pursuer.
At least you know where he is, right? 2nd down and 12. A big defensive play by the rookie all-star Taylor. Here's Theismann scrambling to his left, and he's going to throw it now. Oh, and makes a good catch. Number 81, Art Monk, catches it. And the clock is still rolling, but that's going to be close to a 1st down at the 30. Again, the weak side blitz.
Well, Rick Walker, I think, is walking over there, and is a little bit thankful. He grabbed, was holding on to the jersey, and that could have been a holding call. See if we can see Walker. Here's number 88. He's grabbing that jersey of Taylor, and then he trips him with his arm, and of course Theismann gets the ball off, the big completion. Walker was just trying to do his job.
Everybody's got to be someplace, right? 18 of 25 for 178 yards. Joe Theismann, and he's got the Skins marching. 1:20 left in the 3rd period. They trail by 3. It's short yardage. Less than a yard. Riggins, now 2nd effort, and he's still now fighting the pressure, but he's inside the 30.
I'd say there's about 2 or 3 running backs in the NFL that would have made that 1st down on that particular situation.
Looked like he was stopped momentarily, and then he kept it working, didn't he?
And there's one of them right there. Probably Earl Campbell would have made that. Maybe somebody else, but that was a heck of a run right there. And 2nd effort was something special.
Jim Brown, O.J. Simpson, Franco Harris, Walter Payton. Boy, there's a list. Jim Taylor, he's got a lot of that running over me. Joe Perry, same. Larry Zonka, and John Riggins is now in 8th place.
Number 8. Passed up Leroy Keller.
And still playing. First and 10, the rain is coming down. Inside handoff to Riggins, who is working hard now, and Jeter stops him in his tracks. Not much. Big John's getting a full day's work in the high humidity of northern Jersey.
Well, Mark May, number 73, is in there. Jacoby had a pinched nerve in his neck going into the game. They were wondering how he would feel, and he might be nursing that a little bit on the sidelines. And number 1 draft choice, Mark May, who was a right tackle at Pittsburgh. They think he's going to play better right tackle, but he's playing left tackle now for the Redskins.
He's got it going, and so do the Redskins. It's 20-17, and 1 more quarter to go. The rain is coming down, but most people have come prepared, and prepared for a good football game. That's what they've come. So that's a good one here, 20-17.
That group over there is dedicated.
Got to be a little bit crazy. The pro football, though, is a natural national insanity right now. It's the most talked about thing anywhere.
That's it. We got a heck of a game right here. These teams have really gone at it, seesawing, and good plays, big plays, and some tough defense along the line.
Second down and 8. Ricky Walker, the tight end in motion. Theismann on a quick drop. He's being rushed. Now he unloads his sidearm, and Walker can't hang on. It was not a lateral.
Well, they had the blitz on, and Courier was responsible for Walker out in the flat. Of course, if Joe was harassed, if he would have got that ball out one step either way, if Walker would have got by Courier, he would have sailed into the end zone.
Threw that one sidearm, didn't he?
Well, he didn't have much of a choice that time. He's looked like Sonny Jurgensen throwing that one. Sonny was one of the really great passers of all time. Threw a bit sidearm though.
Here's that crazy stat. You know what that'll get you in January? Nothing. Third down, and call it 9. Theismann back to throw. This is a big play. Art Monk on his knees at the 21-yard line. Mark Haynes there.
He's a bit short of the first down.
Now you go for it, or do you think about getting the 3?
Being 20-17, I think they'll probably kick the field goal.
Yeah, here comes Moseley off. You and Joe Gibbs are on the same frequency. Moseley has missed a 49-yarder, and he made a shorter one just before halftime. He is 8 of his last 11. This will be from the 27-yard line, a 37-yard field goal. It's got plenty of distance. Missed it to the left side. Plenty of distance. A little wrong trajectory for Mark Moseley.
Boy, he kicked that high and long. It did go off to the left. Got his head down right here, and
that's into the wind.
He sees it. Terry Jackson knows it's no good, and Moseley's disappointed. That's a big kick right there.
Ball's on the 21. Back to pass. Sims on it, first down. And a great sliding catch there by Johnny Perkins. And it's called no good. It's called no good.
Well, the official behind the receiver called that. The one on the side there wasn't as sure, so Sims thought he caught it. Here we go. Of course, the official behind did get a little bit of an angle right there. And
that's as close as you can have it. We have about the best view from this replay.
From that replay, I thought he caught the ball. But
called incomplete. Second down and 10. You can't argue with those officials, Roger. On the 21. Here's the draw play. That's Perry. He's straightened up by number 52, Olkowitz. It's going to bring up a very tight offensive play. Got to be careful now. A turnover here, and the Redskins are not only back in the game, they might lead. Third down and 8. 13:38 left in the fourth period. It's been pillar to post. Nickel defense in for the Redskins. Perkins in motion. Almost offside. They got back. Sims has a receiver, and Freedy maybe caught this one. No, this one's called no good too. Coming across the middle is Lavender and Freedy fight for the ball.
Well, that was called no good. Freedy had the ball and he dropped it, and the official did call it late after the drop. But here's the ball again. It's low. A little bit of a wind, a gusty wind, and as he comes down, he just doesn't hold on to the football.
Pretty good coverage by Bert Lavender. And now Jennings, one of the great punters in football, will try to get the Giants out of trouble. And Nelms, the great returner, is trying to put him in hot water. Here it is. Nelms at the 40. And tackled immediately. Good coverage.
Well, that's amazing. That guy actually, the guy that was down on the kickoff, I guess Larry Flowers, number 77, actually waited for Nelms to catch it. Nelms didn't fair catch it, and Flowers watched him take a step or two in front of him.
Look out now. Theismann and the Redskin offense come on the field. It's Giants 20 to 17, 13:04 left. It's a 3-point game in the fourth period, and the Redskins have the ball. They trail by 3. Here's the fake by Theismann. He's got some time going to the outside to Ricky Walker, and that one was really humming. He didn't even get his hands up.
Well, they had the 3-man rush, and they sent a fourth, a linebacker. It was Van Pelt. Theismann had a little pressure on him.
Was that a good throw?
Well, Courier was in an inverted zone. This time he came underneath, and I don't think Theismann saw him. The cornerback was back. He thought he had plenty of room out there, and all of a sudden he saw Courier, and I think he just tried to get rid of the football.
He did. He airmailed it out of bounds. Second down and 10. The ball's on the Washington 42. Walker in motion. Theismann back to throw. The blitz by Van Pelt. And Theismann scrambling now. He's going to throw it. Now he's going to run. He unloads it anywhere. And there's a flag back around the 30-yard line.
Holding number 64. Second down.
Ron Saul.
There's Ron Saul, 64, holding right there. He's grabbing Brad Van Pelt, holding him. He's going to pull him down right here. And right there is where they gave Theismann the opportunity to get outside. Saul did his job, though. He protected his quarterback.
Big play, second down and 20. Back on the 32. Theismann, quick drop. He's got time, a lot of time. He hits Metcalf, who is tackled immediately by Harry Carson.
Well, they were in that second and long situation. They're in third and long now, and Theismann has got to get something over the middle to get the first down.
Third down and 15. Theismann being rushed, and Metcalf inside the 40 to the 35-yard line. A good pass under pressure by Theismann.
Courier is really mad at himself. Now, Bill Courier, and Theismann just laid that into that open area behind the linebackers, and Metcalf picked it off in stride, and the safeties just didn't react quick enough. Here's Theismann, lets it go, puts it right in the middle right there, and of course Courier is mad at himself, gets over there a little late. The safeties are to the outside watching the deep areas, the cornerbacks are up close, and the safeties are responsible for that middle also. So the Redskins like to hit the fade area. This time Theismann crossed him up, hit him down the middle. And
Metcalf looked like the old Metcalf that time. He's out now. He may have been hurt. Monk is in motion. Theismann now driving the team. Riggins runs into a stone wall after a couple of yards. Harry Carson under the pile. Time remaining 11.
You know, Theismann knew exactly what the defense was. He knew that the safeties were watching the outside deep, and he laid it down the middle. He had Metcalf in that middle area, the 2 wide receivers going outside to keep the safeties worrying about the outside. So he knew what he was doing when he laid it up down the middle.
Boy, big play, 20 to 17, under 11 minutes. Redskins have had the ball a lot. Here's Theismann on a bootleg to the outside. Taylor's chasing him. Joe Theismann gets inside the 20, and Taylor makes the tackle. What a play, a bootleg, a naked play by the quarterback.
Well, Taylor was coming on the blitz, and Theismann did get outside, and of course Taylor's speed, he reacted to it. Almost stripped Theismann's ball downfield, but Theismann did a nice job hanging on to the ball and also getting the first down.
He's quick too, isn't he? San Francisco 12-5 over Cleveland. In the fourth quarter, Cleveland with a safety and a field goal. That's the only way you can get 5.
That's correct, unless you get 5 extra points.
Oh, that's good. Thanks a lot. First and 10, the ball's up at 19. Inside handoff to John Riggins, who gets dunked by McGriff. Picks up a couple. The Redskins are in that red zone that Joe Gibbs talks about. That's where everything tightens up. Speaking of tight things.
Yeah, that's a tight one. Detroit's come back in that game, but they've had a way of finding problems in the fourth quarter, and Dallas has had a way in the fourth quarter to come back this year, so that's going to be a matchup. If the trends stay the same, Dallas could still pull it out.
Friday the 13th, that was the other day. 2nd down and 7. Monk is in motion, resumes, quickly going by. Here's Riggins, he gets trapped. I believe that's Taylor that made the first contact, and he gets help.
Well, when you're a quarterback now and you've got a 20-17 score and it's not in your favor, you don't want a trap down here. You don't want an interception. You don't want a big mistake. Yet, I don't think you want to play for the field goal either. So you got to go with a safe pass right here. And if it's not open, if it's not there, throw the thing away. Don't get trapped or don't get it intercepted.
8:50 and the clock is running. Each team has 3 timeouts. And we've got a 3rd and 8, and this is a big one. Ricky Thompson's in the slot. Theismann for Riggins, the fullback, down to the 7-yard line. Beasley Reese had to make the tackle.
That's a good play, and Joe saw it open up right away, and he didn't even hesitate. He drilled it right into Riggins. He had the back coming out of the backfield. He had looking out to the outside. Saw Riggins get past the linebacker, Carson, and just drilled it right in there, and it's first down. But now he's settled down the last 4 or 5 games, and he's doing a good job.
First and goal, Riggins gets to about the 6 and not much more, and bodies are flying. Jeter and McGriff and Kelly. It's tough to score down in here, especially against the Giants this year. They are rough. Carson, Kelly, Van Pelt, Taylor, McGriff, Neal, and Jeter.
One of the toughest things, I guess, in life when things aren't going particularly well, you can actually make them go worse. But there's always the dawn before the dark, and Joe really has pressured himself, and he put himself into a rut. He's pulled himself out though, and he's playing extremely well.
The draw play to Joe Washington. Joe gets to the 3-yard line. Carson and Neal making the tackle.
We watched
the dawn before the dark. What was that?
Well, there's always some light there after the things seem the darkest, and we saw Joe sitting on the bench against San Francisco with his head down, a few interceptions, and there was a dark spot this year, and he's got playing well again, the whole team, and he's a different quarterback, a lot of talent, a lot of ability, but he's got a tough call right here, Tommy.
He surely does. It's 3rd and 4, 3rd and goal. That's Monk in motion. Theismann back to throw quickly. He just dumps it over. And Warren has the touchdown catch. The tight end just slipped in and was completely uncovered.
Well, he did, and Theismann read that real well. He just dumped it real quickly, saw a mistake in the coverage by the Giants.
And absolutely no hold up.
Well, here's Kelly, 55, is coming in on the blitz, and no one picks up Warren, the tight end. And it's just there's a mistake somewhere in the secondary. If Kelly's supposed to blitz, there should be a safety over there helping. Theismann picks it up, and the Redskins have their first lead of the day.
A big point here. That is good. With 6:35 left in the 4th period. It's Washington 24, the Giants 20. That was Don Warren's first touchdown catch ever, and this is his 3rd year as a starter.
I can't believe that. That's accurate, though.
Well, I don't know.
He's a good tight end. He's got a lot of passes, and tight ends have been catching touchdowns around the goal line, but that's an unusual statistic there.
Bryant misplays the long kickoff by Moseley. It'll come out to the 20. 3 timeouts left for the Giants. Perkins in motion. Sims handing off to Perry, who gets outside. Over the 30-yard line. Perry driving. And Dexter Manley is really hot.
He must be hot at someone he thinks held him, because Manley was the guy they got outside of, and he's either mad at himself or he's yelling at the official. So here's the play, and Perry starts inside, breaks outside, and oh, there he is. That's why he's mad. Yeah, that's why he's mad.
Vincent tore his shirt off and got away with it. 1st and 10 now on the 43. A big run by Perry, who's rumbling. 7 for 47. He gets it again. The flags are flying. Oh, this time
Sims is pointing downfield, but officials are going to call that against the Giants. I think Duszek did something sneaky on that play, but we don't know what it is.
I think he drew Gordon King off somehow.
He might have done something there. With all the Giants are pointing at old Duszek, he's kind of looking, get his head down over there.
Oh, yeah. Looking the other way, right?
Yeah,
First
Duszek,
and 15 on the 37.
He's a cagey veteran, so he might have pulled something.
3 timeouts left. 6:16 on the clock. Sims back to throw quickly, drops it outside to Gary Shirk. Shirk gets to the 45-yard line. That's the Moorhead State connection. Jarris White forced him out.
I'll tell you what Duszek probably did. He probably called the Giant signals. They were complaining about that. That's happened before to draw people offside.
Well, is that against the rules too? You can't talk anymore?
Well, you can't yell out other team signals.
If you know them, the other team is.
Well, Shirk beat Duszek to the outside and broke the tackle also and got the. Well, he got a lot of that yardage back. It's second and about 7 now.
Ball's on the 45. People begin to sit up a little bit. Bright goes in motion. Sims back to throw. He sets up. He's going deep for Bright. Bright overthrown at the 12-yard line. Mark Murphy and Peters in pursuit.
Well, they're trying to isolate that time the strong safety on the speed that Bright has, and they got the isolation, and Peters stayed almost step to step with him down the sideline. It would have been a perfect throw.
Bright's a real versatile little football player. He made a great catch in that narrow loss to Green Bay a week ago. He's quite a young football player down from Canada.
Now, you can talk on defense, Tommy, but you can't say hut hut. What?
You can't.
No, you can't use the quarterback's language over there.
Somebody just threw a ball out onto the playing field. A tennis ball of some kind came sailing out of the stands.
Maybe is the U.S. Open being played? Heck of a...
Tell you one thing, those guys in the line of scrimmage will take a bite out of it. 3rd down and 7 when we get back to the action. 6:04 on the clock. 3rd down and 7 now. The Giants can't afford to give the ball up too many more times without getting points, can they, Raj?
Well, they can't. They need to put something together in this drive. It's 6:04 to go, and they've got good field position now. They've got to take advantage of this drive. Of course, it's a big 3rd down play. The Redskins are tough on 3rd down.
Greedy to the left. Here comes Perkins into the slot. He's going to stay inside.
The blitz.
And Coleman makes the sack. Back on the 35-yard line. A quick move by number 51.
You're not kidding. That was a quick move. And Monty Coleman's a great athlete. He's got that wrap on his forearm there. He was hurt earlier in the year, but he's fast. And boy, he came around him that time, and Sims had no chance.
He's a 4.6 40 man, I believe.
Yeah, he's fast.
That's quick. Here's Jennings kicking from the 25. A bad kick, but it may turn out all right. Handled by Nelms at the 25. Nelms is loose at the 40 and finally trapped.
Good job by Nelms, though. He really picked that up.
On CBS Sports Saturday, the lightweight championship, the WBC lightweight championship, the great Arguello against Robert Elizondo. Roberto, by the way, has 23-0 record. He's a good fighter, number 3 rated. That's live from Las Vegas, 4:30 Eastern Time, 3:30 Central. Do you like Arguello?
Oh, yeah. I think he's a great fighter, though. He's had some great matches in the past, and that should be a good one.
A professional. Here's Riggins. Speaking of professional, the flags are down.
Holding there in the Redskin line.
Holding, number 64.
He's young, 12 years in the league. I tell you, he knows how to hold every way possible. What a great player. Came back from, he's had about 7 knee surgery jobs.
Yeah, he's a tough cookie.
All right, it's a big one, though. 1st and 20 to go now. The ball's back on the 30. Riggins, the only remaining back. He gets the ball off the left side. Gets to the 35. McGriff making the tackle. 5:20 and ticking the clock. Redskins would like to consume the rest of that clock, I suppose, and get to thinking about Dallas next week.
You can't do it with those holding penalties. That was a critical penalty right there. The Redskins, they can get that back. They'll put themselves in good shape.
Metcalf and Monk are flanked to the right. Riggins, the only remaining back. Here's Theismann on a sprint. Oh, McGriff spikes it and almost intercepts the ball.
Oh, there wasn't much protection this time. George just got overpowered.
Almost had the fair catch that one. Some play by the young defensive left end, Curtis McGriff from Alabama. Of course, that's where Ray Perkins starred. Bear Bryant was his coach. That's quite a legacy. A big play, 3rd down and 15 now. That's Monk in motion. Theismann handing off to Joe Washington, not wanting to put the ball up in the air, and Jeter has him very quickly, and the Giants have held. Leon Bright comes on. There's Jeter going off. Connell, a young kicker, will be punting against the wind. And 4:18 still on the clock, and 3 timeouts the Giants have. Redskins used as much time as possible now. Perfect snap. And an average kick that's going nose over. Bright takes it to 31 and gets to the 35 and is dumped. The crowd is on its feet cheering for the Giant offensive team on the field. And some of the Redskins were cheering back at the crowd.
They're excited here. We've got a heck of a game. This is a big series here, the critical series for the Giants.
From the 35, Perry on the outside being chased by Manley. And Coleman breaks the tackle, gets almost to midfield. Make it the 48-yard line. Leon Perry finally tackled by Mark Murphy.
Well, that's the same play that Perry had the big game on before, where Manley was complaining about the holding. This time he just gets outside of Manley, and Manley doesn't recover, and has no complaints here. Coleman also gets beat to the outside, and Perry goes down the sidelines. Nice run. Good blocking at the point of attack just to hold up that defensive charge.
3:46 left, 3 timeouts left. And remember, the Giants have got to go for a touchdown. They trail by 4. Perkins in motion. Handoff to Perry. Gets hit several times before he gets to the 50. They blitz. They force that time. Perry Brooks making the initial hit. And Dexter Manley. 3:30 on the clock.
Well, they've had some openings over the middle today. Sims threw the ball a little bit low a couple of times, but there's been some holes about 18 to 20 yards deep. I think we might see Perkins or Freedy in those holes.
2nd down 9 on the 49. It's a slot right. Man in motion now is Lewis Jackson coming left. Here's Sims back. He has some time. Now he gets rid of it, and the ball might have been deflected. Looked like Perry Brooks might have gotten something on that, did he?
It looked like there was a hand on the ball. Perry Brooks has penetrated very well that time, and at least got a hand in the face of Sims.
Stunning defense on the line of scrimmage. Leon Bright comes in. Ernie Gray comes in. The receivers on 3rd and 9. This is a large play indeed.
You got Perkins. Watch Perkins over the middle.
The nickel defense is in. The blitz is on. Coleman almost has him, and the ball is thrown away. Sims couldn't stay in there. Dexter Manley knocked him down. Ball was intended, I believe, for Perkins. That's the one you called for.
Well, Perkins had a shot around Peters, but Sims was forced out of the pocket, and I think right here, Perkins is starting to come around Peters. Right about now, and then Sims goes to throw, but I think Coleman right there is where he had to come off of Perkins. Then he tried to go to Freedy, and he just had a lot of pressure on him at that moment.
Jennings is going to punt it. He'll try to hang this one and keep the Redskins in trouble, and Nelms takes it at the 15. Does not fumble, gets out of the grasp of 2 tacklers, runs into more. And now there are people making contact all over the place. About the 20-yard line, we'll spot it. All right, 2:42 left here. 3 timeouts for the Giants, but the Redskins have the ball. Theismann to Riggins, who stumbles, falls, and loses the yard.
This is one of those interesting situations where you can, after the game is over, say, I wish we would have done that or wish we would have done this, but I don't think you can get conservative with a 4-point lead and especially in a visitor stadium where you can get the crowd really riled up if they're held here. So I'd kind of go with got me here and maybe take a chance and throw some of those fairly safe passes to Walker, Warren, or to one of your backs.
All right, Theismann's back with the word. Washington, Ricky Thompson in there. Monk is out to the right. Wiggins is leaving the field. It's a wing-back formation. And that's what it's going. It's a handoff to Joe Washington, who cuts off the left side for about a yard or so for Neal, and McGriff jump on him. Another timeout. Do I see the Giants? Yep, the Giants burned another timeout. Here's the 3rd and 6 call. It's a handoff, very conservative. Washington will not get but about a yard, and Connell will come out to do the punting. Quentin Lowry, number 56, a new linebacker, is in there. Sims now with a pro set behind him. Sims back, is being rushed. Dave Butts makes the big sack for Washington. Boy, and he really got jammed. Manley gets there after Butts has sort of swung the quarterback around.
He came into the game with some nagging injuries. He missed last week. He's had a groin problem and I guess the ribs, his knee's been sore. He got hit right in the, it looks like he thrown to the ground with some big men on his chest.
Scott Bruner, who had the 3 touchdown passes against Green Bay in the losing effort a week ago, the young man out of Delaware in his 3rd year. He's 6'5", and he can throw. He's got the live arm. Of course, he hasn't warmed up. He hasn't had a chance to. The sack happened so quickly, and Sims, a very sturdy type quarterback, but he's on the deck, working with his left shoulder, the left arm of Tony Peters went over and told Sims he's sorry about it, but it looks like the young quarterback is really in pain.
He's holding that midsection. Could be the ribs or...
2nd down and 18 facing Scott Bruner and the New York Giants. They're a long way from pay dirt. Number 12's back. He's tall. The wide open receiver is Perkins, who gets a tumbling catch in Washington territory. The hurry-up drill now as the defense comes to set up.
Boy, Bruner threw that one nice. It looked like there wasn't anybody there, and all of a sudden Perkins caught the ball.
He's got 1 timeout left, 1:26 of the clock. Bruner drops back. He's got time across the middle. Gray at the 30-yard line to the 27-yard line. 2 big passes in a row by Scott Bruner. He's trying to tell Perkins now an ad-lib play. 1:09 and ticking off. You can see the clock. Bruner throwing it out of bounds, stops that clock on over a minute.
That's a good play. Save the timeout. They've got a minute and 2 seconds. Perkins can think about it on the sidelines and maybe send something into Bruner. They can get organized, but Bruner's hit 2 big plays. One to Gray over the middle, and one right into the seam to Johnny Perkins, where when he threw the ball, it just didn't look like anybody's going to be there, but he was firing it into that seam, and Perkins moved into it.
And it's funny how good the pass protection was for 2 straight plays. Now they've got to suck it up. They've got the young man in there, right? And they block like gangbusters. 24-20. It's 2nd down and 10.
The Redskins are going to blitz.
The blitz is on. They're handling it. He has time. Bruner going for Ernie Gray in the end zone. And it's knocked away by Bert Lavender at the last second.
Well, Gray was looking the ball into his hands, and Lavender got back, and being the veteran he is, timed it just perfectly and knocked the ball out of bounds. Here's Bruner. It's a good throw, though. Gray has about a step on him. Lavender does recover. And right here, he knocks the ball away. Good play by Joe Lavender.
Nerves of steel.
There's another angle right here. Lavender is about a step behind. The ball's out in front, though. It's a pretty good throw, and of course, Lavender gets the arms up just in time and knocks it into the stands.
3rd down and 10. 56 seconds left for the Giants. Bruner straight back, not too quickly, getting rushed by Manley, but gets it off and it's underthrown. Dexter Manley came around the horn and put the young quarterback down.
Manley got around there, but the Giant defense picked up the blitz right here. They really filled the gap with, they blocked butts, and they also got the linebacker Dusek coming the other side, and he has enough time right here. Manley finally gets to him, but he had enough time to get rid of the ball. There was just good coverage in the secondary.
The coach knows it's all down to one play. One play and 28 yards.
That extra point looms big right here. If they would have had to go for a field goal, maybe tie it, but now they got to score.
Scott Brunner back. The rush is on. He's going deep. He's open. Oh, touchdown. Touchdown for Johnny. A 28-yard touchdown pass has brought this crowd up and alive.
Boy, I tell you, those Giants were in the end zone. They've got everybody into that end zone.
John Missler, the rookie out of Arizona State.
That's amazing. John Missler catches the football. He's a big play for the New York Giants. And Scott Brunner is a hero again. There's the ball, number 85, and Missler, fine young wide receiver, hasn't played a whole lot this year, makes the big play.
Here's Dinello's extra point, and that one is good. 27-24. Remember, Mark Moseley won the game a week ago from 45 yards out over Detroit. There's a lot of time. The Redskins have 3 timeouts.
Well, since the second half of that Green Bay game, old Brunner's been pretty sensational. He got off to what you would call a shaky start with 3 or 4 interceptions in the first half. He came back with 3 touchdown passes. Came in for injured Phil Simms, who hurt his shoulder. He had his right hand around his midsection, but the reason for it, I guess he hurt his shoulder. It might be separated. They're not completely sure how bad it is right now. Brunner came in, did the job, and laid the ball to Missler for a touchdown, and there's Scott. He's happy. The whole team's happy.
I've never seen the Giant team react like they did in that end zone. That looked like Purdue, Ohio State or something. I've never seen them all run into the end zone in the days that I've been around here.
Well, they're happy. There's Carpenter over there congratulating him. And
Brunner's dad, of course, is a backfield coach with the Detroit Lions, and they've got their own problems, but the young man really came out and threw some strikes. They were all good throws that he had. Even when he was rushed by Manley, he almost had an open receiver. Now, what will Dinello do with the ball? Will he kick it deep and make him go 80 yards?
Boom it out of there. Get it as far as you possibly can, because that, again, your Moseley is a great field goal kicker, a long-range field goal kicker, and two completions, they could be in field goal range.
He kicks it low, keeping it away from Nelms, taken by number 77. That's Darrell Grant.
I don't know why they did that. It's one pass completion here, 1 or 2. It's 38 seconds to go. The Redskins have their timeouts left, so
I don't understand that at all. In fact, it's a darn good return by Grant. That's the biggest return man in the history of the league. 270. Timeouts 3 for the Redskins.
This is where they ought to go deep over the middle, something in between the linebackers and in front of the secondary. They got Monk out here, out wide, and he's a good bet.
Theismann back to throw. Dumps it off to Joe Washington, who will get out of bounds and does at the 49-yard line. Bill Courier in hot pursuit. Remember, Moseley is accurate from about 43 on in. I mean, really accurate. But from 48 or 49, it would be some effort today. He'll be kicking against the wind, too, so they've got to get it somewhere inside that 40-yard line.
I think you're right, and even closer than that, Moseley's had that injury, and the long one might be a problem. Last week he did kick a 44-yarder, but they need to get down close to the 30-yard line at least.
Theismann, it's almost intercepted by Harry Carson, trying for Ricky Thompson. The crowd now is breathing and yelling on every play.
Well, Carson timed that just right and could have made that interception. Ball hits him in the hands. Theismann tried to drill it in there, but Carson was playing the ball, playing Theismann's eyes, and almost had the interception.
Would a screen pass be a dumb call now, or would it be a good call?
Now the linebackers are back deep, and they'll react to it. You can get maybe 5 or 6 yards unless you broke a tackle, but you need something deep over the middle, something in that 18-yard range.
Theismann back on 3rd down and 7. He's being chased, and now he's going to run. He has room to run. He gets to the 41-yard line, and Kelly makes the tackle. A timeout's being burned. 1 timeout goes, so the Theismann has 2. He's limping just a little bit as he gets up. 16 seconds left.
They made the big series last week against Detroit to kick the winning field goal, but he's in the, again now, it's only a 10-yard pass that puts it in field goal range, so I'd go for something in the 10 to 12-yard range and go for that field goal.
Metcalf went out in motion. He's going to be a safety valve. Here's Theismann. Oh, Joe Washington drops the football.
Wow. I tell you, Bostic was out in front right there, and if he gets a block on Harry Carson, Joe Washington is definitely inside the 30-yard line and into field goal range.
And that's probably the man that you would most likely want to have the ball in a tight situation.
Now, Bostic would have had to get that block on Carson, but he could have done it. He was in good position, and Washington just looked up, probably looking to where he could run to, and didn't catch the ball.
2nd down and 10. The ball is on the 40. That is beyond almost anybody's range against the wind today. So, as Roger Staubach said, they've got to move it somewhere inside the 35 at least. Here's Theismann back on 2nd down and 10. Caught by Washington. A great catch this time down to the 33-yard line. Harry Carson making the tackle with Kelly.
Well, that's a 50-yard field goal. They're going to have to go for it now. 5 seconds.
There's Moseley.
He's got 1 for 3 today, so he's had a...
He is like 1 for 7 over 50 yards this year. That's perhaps his worst year ever for the long ones. Look at Perkins. Back and forth. Talk about a seesaw.
You know who's nervous right now? Besides Moseley and the Redskins, is old Scott Bruner over there.
Yep.
He doesn't want this comeback pass to be taken out of his grips. I'll tell you. He was over there celebrating. He wants, like all the Giants, but he can be the hero if they win the football game. And
this will be a 49-yard attempt being held on about the 30. Now look at the Redskins. I've never seen this in my life in professional football. The whole Redskin team is out there, including the coach.
They got everybody out there. And, of course, you go back to the mixed extra point, and Moseley goes back to a few of his missed field goals, but when it counted, Mark Moseley drilled it through the middle at 50.
And it carried well. It would have carried from 55, but it was dead on straight. Welcome back to Giant Stadium. Tom Brookshire with Roger Staubach. The Giants and the Redskins are all tied after 60 minutes. We'll have a 15-minute overtime period or sudden death. The first team that scores wins. The Giants won the toss, and we'll take the football first. It was a Mark Moseley field goal with about 3 seconds on the clock from almost 50 yards. That tied it up. An impossible game follows the game that...
Talk about it.